Good morning. Welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. Now, those of you which are on the live version, can you let me know if you can hear me loud and clearly? Now, I'm going to assume that is the case. And today we have, let me get this right, 6 topics, but there are subtopics of topics today. There's quite a bit to cover. Number 1, AWOL, where I was for the last 2 days or so. Flying vermin, which we can see on the screen. Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, gents. And we'll get to some good mornings in a moment. So, yeah, AWOL, flying vermin. We have not 1, but 2. I had to do that, sorry. Special guests this week. And one of them is very special. Blue names in the chat, a topic which I am going to bring up as a conversation point. A new F3 board as well, which I've got in a top tab up there. That was Mark, which wanted for me to have a quick look at that one with you. And some upcoming models as well. So with that said, let's get back to topic number 1, which was AWOL. In short, I had the dentist on Friday, and I had 2 molar fillings in the top of my jaw. And I can tell you, I was a very sick puppy for a good 36 hours or so. And I'm still not 100% now, to be perfectly honest. And one of them was prep work. I had some root canal done a while back. And it's like prep work to put a crown in. It's not been a very nice experience, to say the least. And I'm just checking over my notes on it. Yeah, I didn't actually eat for about 36, 40 hours, something like that. And last night, boy, did I make up for it. I was starving, absolutely starving, Marvin. Yeah, not good. And I was a little bit concerned about yesterday. I was up at around 6, but I really wasn't me. And I would have been a right grumpy bar steward. So I thought it was best, let's skip one and see what happens. So yeah, apologies for that in short. Now, I am here looking at my notes, so apologies, I'm not looking at you. And I also was a little bit concerned about my body clock being screwed up. But no, this morning, right away, 3 o'clock in the morning. And you wouldn't believe how much I've slept in the last 2 days. Nuts. Right, next topic is flying vermin. Which is... Now, I just want for the record, I didn't say, "Ooh, look, birdies," or "let's go and chase them off for the farmer." But yesterday, there was a great big flock of seagulls up at one of the flying sites, and I went for a little fly around. Now, I caught the best moments on taking some screenshots. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Now, any of you are worried about the poor little birdies, they're all cheaters. We know birds are cheaters because they've got evolution on their side and they're able to fly fantastically well. But it was, yeah, great experience. There was one bird, I managed to get up quite far behind it. Well, I did my best to keep away from them, and it was actually really difficult because they were all in a great big flock. So you'd go over the top of the flock, and then you turn around, and you didn't know where you were, and the next second you knew you were right in the middle of them. It was like, oh, all right, and you're not trying to use much throttle, but it's the micro SkyHunter, so it's losing height. So yeah, brilliant times. Look at that, absolutely amazing. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Being able to fly with the birds, which were flying, they're seagulls, let's face it, they're just flying rats with wings, aren't they? But that aside, my feelings about flying vermin, they were very beautiful in the sky. It was a fantastic experience. So, yeah, well done, birdies. Right, on to topic number 2. Is that we do have 2 special guests here this week. Now, one of them is penciled in for Thursday, and one of them might be with us on Tuesday. Don't know quite yet, in short, but it will be a very, very special guest, almost as special as the other special guest on Thursday. So do keep an eye out for that later this week. Should be bloody good fun. Now, before I move on to the next topic, I would actually like to say good mornings. So good morning, Andrew, new visitor here this morning. Rick, Wayne, of course. Daniel did pop in this morning, but he wasn't feeling great, so he's legged it. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Bleakis. Scrolling down, good morning, Mark. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Olin. Good morning, BMW. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Mash. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Phil. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, RC Late Bloomer. Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Pastor. Good morning, Riff. Good morning, Andrew. And have I missed anybody? Good morning, Steve. Yeah, good morning. Right, let's move on to the next topic, which is, actually, you won't see it above my head when you're watching the recorded version, but in the live chat, which goes along with this episode, some of the names are in blue. And the reason why the names are in blue is because I've given you a couple of you some moderator access. Now, 99% of the time, you won't need to do anything about that. But what it is I was watching back the mini SkyHunter unboxing, and unfortunately, we had a twat in there. So, yeah, chances are between Warren, Wayne, and Lauren, one of you guys, or girls, will be on. Yeah, unnecessary evil, unfortunately. So if you're wondering what the blue names mean, it's just I've been given a couple of them, a couple of the people in the chat, some moderator access to boot them out if someone misbehaves, which, like I said, 99.9999999% of the time we won't need. But just in case, we have that backup in place. Next topic, it was Mark which actually suggested this one. So this is actually for Mark. So Mark had been spotted over on Banggood. It's an Frsky and it's an F3 board, but the bit which makes it special is because it's got an Frsky XM Plus receiver in it. So that's the one with the full range on it, so about 1.5 kilometers range on it. Now I do have some notes on here. So it's an F3 board compared to an F1 board, so like the old NAS A32. So that does mean that it's got a floating point processor on it, so it can do certain calculations faster. Need to clarify that because it doesn't do all calculations faster, just the ones which rely on the floating point processor. Oh yeah, I did notice, where is it? There. We do have the SD card slot underneath, so you can do your own data login, which is great if you want to go back and change your PIDs and stuff like that, replay a flight, which I thought was pretty cool. It does also include the barometer as well, which you can't see on the live version, but you'll have to take my word for it. It does include an accelerometer, gyro, compass, and the barometer, so I do believe that's a 10 DOF board. Channel 8 is RSSI. Again, a little point for you, for those of you which are looking at that board. Channel 8 is the RSSI signal, so if you load it up with Betaflight or CleanFlight, you can set your RSS strength on channel 8. The only negative which I can pick out for this one, and it's back up here, is those pin headers are absolutely tiny, so you are going to have really good fun soldering those pin headers on for sure. And also note, there was something else which I spotted in here. It only appears to come with one cable, so you're probably going to end up direct soldering to that board, I'm guessing. So yeah, it looks like a really cool board. There is a link to that in the video description, and Mark, big hat tip for that one. It is pretty cool. It saves some space if you're working on a smaller build. Happy days if you've got the receiver built in. Yeah, pretty damn cool. It means that you've got there isn't one other failure point, if that makes sense. Oh, there is a negative point which I'll raise, but it's only like a small negative point, which is the flashing the firmware. If you wanted to upgrade the firmware for the XM receiver, I'm guessing it would be nigh on impossible to do. But that said, if it works, it works, and you shouldn't really need to have a reason to upgrade it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty damn cool. So Mark, good call on that one. The next topic which we have, Brian says, Slater, no OSD. I don't think it has an OSD. I'm just gonna no OSD built into that board. So yeah. I know with some of the later ones, again with the evolution of Betaflight, they do have the OSD built in. So yeah, really good point there, Brian. Yeah, really good point. Maybe that's another negative point on there, that you don't get your OSD showing on there. On the flip side, maybe you've got a Runcam Swift 2, which has got the basics on there. That would probably work for you. I don't know. It's horses for courses. If you want to save some time, if you want to save some weight, if an F3 board without the OSD is going to suit you down to the ground, that's happy days. Yeah, it's the options which we have right now, not only for models, which is actually the next topic, some of the upcoming models which you're going to see on this channel, but also for the quad pilots out there. That's the choices which we've got. We are genuinely, spoiled for choice, for kit and models and frames and props. It is a fantastic time to be in RC. It's no longer limiting factors of pretty much hardware anymore, whether that just being like with RC models having to use balsa, or what is classed now is older technologies when it comes to quads. It's crazy times. Happy days is what I'm going to label that one. Bleaker says, does it have telemetry for the Trannis? No, the XM Plus does not have telemetry, but it does run in D16 mode. So yeah, you gotta weigh it up. Yeah, Henry says, sounds good for iNav. Yeah, it'd make a good board. Yeah, it's probably too advanced for iNav, which, no, I'm not joking. On a serious point, F3 board, receiver built in. Just range would be an issue for that one. But if you're only going to be pottering around quite close, then happy days. $35. We're not talking pounds here, we're talking $35, so like 30 quid. Not bad, includes the receiver. Nice and lightweight. Yeah, can't knock the price either. Yeah, I'm Mark. Big hat tip for suggesting that one. Like, in the right circumstances, spot on. So, link to that one is in the video description for you. Right, on to the next topic is upcoming models. So these are models which you're going to see here over the next month or so. So number one is, I need to get this in the right order, which is not that one and that one there. So as many of you know, I bought that one a while ago. Remember, I was making the comparisons between HobbyKing, and this was over in the Facebook group. I made the comparison between this one, buying it from Banggood, to HobbyKing. Technically, it worked out cheaper from HobbyKing, like from face value, like on top line price. But when you start factoring that if you have to pay shipping for the model, and then if you on HobbyKing and then on Banggood, if you say that you included like a discount code, or in my case I chucked a load of points at it, it did work out a lot cheaper than the headline price of $106. So that one is on the way to me right now. As many of you know, that one of my ambitions for this year is to become a better pilot, which I think it's actually quite a good ambition for all of us, to be honest, as pilots. But on a very serious point is that I would really like to improve my 3D skills. I have seen a marked improvement in my gracefulness in the sky. I can hold knife edges for longer. I can prop hang models loosely. I'm going to put like inverted commas around that. I am getting better. There is definitely a marked improvement. Those of you which may have seen the me with the bent video which came out a short while ago about with the HobbyKing reactor, is that was me like 2 weeks ago, maybe more. And my flying has 100% improved because I'm challenging myself now. I am starting to see some decent gains in my abilities in the sky, and this one is going to be one of the models which I'm going to be doing that with. How robust it is, genuinely not sure. I've already had many tips from you as fellow pilots saying make sure you put extra CA glue in the balsa front, in the motor mount and things like that. We'll give it a whirl. We'll see if it's worth the headline price of $106. We'll see if it's worth like the discounted price as well. So yeah, that one is actually in the air to me right now. Talking of being in the air to me right now, is that we have an F-22, the first like jet model which I would have owned, is on the way to me as well. Now this one can be set up as either a EDF or a pusher. I will be setting mine up as a pusher. I am a little bit concerned about noise on this one. Also, I don't think that landing gear is going to last very long, but who knows? Let's take a quick look at it on that. It looks pretty good. And again, my head's in the way, so let me go and turn the camera off a second. There we go. Excuse me. It looks pretty good. It looks like fun. Yeah, looks like a 4-servo setup. We'll find out when it turns up. It does look like really good fun. And if it's not, then you'll end up in a cement mixer, to be brutally honest. So anyway, it's on the way to me. Looking forward to flying that one. Should be good fun. The only negative which I can say right now is that you can see, let me see if I can zoom in here a touch. There we go. Oh, great, my head's in the way. Let me move that out of the way. Right, the only negative which I can say is that we are somewhat limited on motor choice because there is like the back of the hold here, which will be a bit of an issue. So I can't put a stupidly big motor on it. So that's the only negative I can say so far. Well, besides the landing gear, potentially it's going to be a noisy model because you've got a propeller with foam on either side of it, which is going to make it rather noisy. Mark says, EDF me, please. I do have a collection of EDFs here. I am going to be working on a, hyperdrive system for another model later this year. So, yeah, I've got EDFs here. So we'll see how it does with a pusher. I'm not a big fan of EDFs. They generally do make a lot of noise and suck a lot of current. For not like a lot of output, but if I've got one which fits, we'll stick it in. In fact, if we've got one which don't fit, we'll probably stick it on there anyway for poops and giggles. Yeah, so that one's literally in the sky. I reckon these two will turn up at the same time because they've gone out in. They've got different tracking numbers, but I reckon they're both on the same flight. So they should, in inverted commas, be with me later this week. For those two. The TravelerPlane as well from Finwing. Now, I'm sure some of you can remember back to a previous RC Coffee Chat. These are not actually available for sale yet on Banggood, but I think Andrew also bought one. Stick a pulse chair on it. Thanks, Joe. Is that Andrew, I believe, has also been and bought one. I've been and bought I believe it's a black black molded EPP version of this one. We'll see what it's like. The premise on this one is that you can stick it into a suitcase quite easily. That's not something which I'm personally going to be doing, but, excuse me, twin motors on the front. It's going to be pretty quiet. It should be pretty damn pokey as well. The limit on propeller is about 6 inches. You won't fit a 7-inch prop on it, so we probably are going to be down like smaller or higher KV motors. Maybe if you've got a pair of quad motors kicking around. That one it has been ordered. We did it on. I basically paid about a similar price to what it is. The headline price is on Banggood. It hasn't been dispatched yet, so they did say February the 15th for that one to be sent out. So we do have that one out on the way to us sometime in the future as well. The next one is the mini SkyHunter. So this was the, what was it? This was the 50-50 one where half of you voted for it and half of you said no. That was a very interesting, vote, which we had. So, by the way, for absolute disclosure, I have yet to have bought the full-size SkyHunter. I've just not been myself for the last couple of days, so I've hardly been on the interwebs at all. Coming on to the mini SkyHunter, I've actually got this made up here next to me because I want to ask you a question about it, which is, let me just grab a remote, is that, does anybody actually have one of these? Because what I am a little bit worried about is not whether it flies any good, but just for the record, I have been and kept the box just in case it is a POS. So we've got the box over there and the polystyrene's on the other side of the office, just in case it is a POS. But on a more serious point, I am a little bit like, well, I am here wondering how the smeg am I going to get this to the flight line? And the reason being is that it's a large model. If I just leave it made up, is one hole. That is quite a large model, and again, slightly awkward to get in the car. Again, if I put it around it, look, you just see the scale of it. It's absolutely massive. The other one is that if I do make it so I can have it in 2 pieces, I'm still left with these 2 bloody great big booms. I don't know, if anybody's got one of these, how do you transport it to the flying site? Please do let me know. Apologies for turning my back on you. Yeah, please do let me know, because that bit is making me wonder at the moment, because to be frankly honest, I'd really like to glue the spar in to the wings. And I'd also like to make sure that those tail booms are a permanent fix as well. So it is just like a bit of an awkward one to get it ready. By the way, if you are watching the recorded version, do let me know. If you've got a mini SkyHunter, let me know in the comments section underneath this video on there. And I'm just keeping an eye on the chat in the... Turbo Tyler says bigger car. Yeah, the booms are detachable. They just come and they're just done up with 2 screws. It is really straightforward, but don't forget you've got a servo wire running down the back of it. So I don't know at the moment. I genuinely don't know. Matt will need a van soon. Yeah. The tail definitely does look like it's on the piss. None of it's done up. I've literally just gone stuff. Just to show you here this morning. So Anthony, yeah, it all is all a bit bent. And that was the other reason for perhaps making sure that the wing spar is glued in and then gluing in the tail booms and things like that. It's because then I know that it's everything's straight and narrow rather than basically being on the piss. Keith sticking on a roof rack. Just drive faster, yeah? Right, launching! Trying to drive with a transmitter and the goggles down. That'd be fun. That's just an accident waiting to happen. Yeah, BMX, I think you're right. It is a bit unwieldy. Goodness knows what the full SkyHunter is going to be like, to be brutally honest. That's going to be a couple of minutes of setup time on the flight line. But my actual concern with the mini one is actually getting it to the flight line in the first place. I don't know. To be honest, the clouds is over there, and I thought that was going to be a pain in the ass to get it to the flight line. But the reality was, it wasn't at all, because IKEA, big blue bag. I stick the wings in there, and the main fuse, because there's not it's got some weight to it, but because it's smaller than say the Phantom, is that it's actually really easy to carry. You can hold it with one arm, it doesn't kill your arm, and of course you can rest models on top because you've got the V-tail at the back to stop them flapping around. So the Clouds, ironically, with a 1.8 meter wingspan, is actually easier to carry to the flight line than the Phantom. And as a disclosure there, I have glued the wings on my Phantom, so they are permanently attached. You have to carry the whole model. Yeah, curious. Andrew says, if you had a van, you could hide some models in there. Yes. Yeah, FPV off the roof. Yeah. And Mark, I do agree. The big Sky Muncher, I am really looking forward to that one. So, yeah, that's my challenge with the mini one at the moment. And that was the upcoming models right now. Now, there is something else on the way to me, but you'll find out about that very shortly, I'm sure. And it's time. Riff says you could FPV it while someone else drives, basically follow your car there. Absolutely, that could be a possibility, but I would definitely get into trouble flying over highways, as the Americans will know, or roads here in the United Kingdom. Yeah, that would be curious. Joe says I can fit a Radiant Pro and a Phoenix 2000 assembled in my Peugeot. Yeah, I can fit the whole wings assembled of my Phoenix 2000 in the car as well. It's just the booms. It's just like a big lump, which is a bit of a challenge. It's a mobile phone recovery unit. Right, our next topic is that we do need to check on the HobbyKing website to see if their website is still broken. So those of you which have not come across this before, there's a new model called the EFX Extra. Matt really would like one. But unfortunately, well, I'm saying that today could be the day. So are we ready? E, are you steady? F, ready to go. Extra. Oh, HobbyKing website is broken again. Your search returns no results. Can you just imagine what it's going to be like here when there is one in stock? Or when they actually do appear on the site. Yes, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, the HobbyKing website is broken again today. Your search returns no results. I'm sorry. We do check. We've missed one day in like 2 weeks. I'm sorry. My consolence, well, whatever, for you. And I'm looking to the left because that's where I've got the chat going on in the background. Right. So with that said, let's recap our topics from today. Number one, apologies for being AWOL for the last couple of days. I'm still not 100% to be honest. Topic number two, we had some flying vermin, which was an absolutely amazing experience. I'm not going to post a video of it, but I just took a couple of screenshots. It was absolutely beautiful, to say the least. It was an enjoyable experience. Well, from this side of the table, the birds probably didn't think so, but that's where it is. This week we do have two special guests, equally special, and I know what both of them are, and they are both pretty damn cool. Next topic which we had today was blue names in the chat as well. They've all been sold out. No, Anthony, don't be a meanie. We had a F3. It's from Frsky. It's a built-in flight control board, F3 with the XM Plus built in. Again, we had a discussion about that previously. It's definitely got some positive points. It's got a few negative points. If it suits your situation, Mark, good call. It does look like pretty good value for $35, which is what we'll say about 30 quid in British pesos. Not bad at all. And then we had that discussion about the choices which we have out here as hobbyists is just unreal now. And that kind of leads us on to the other topic which we had, which is the what do we have? We had the Edge 540, that's on the way to us, the F22, the Finwing TravelerPlane is on the way to me as well. The mini SkyHunter is already here, as we saw a few moments ago. Links to all of these are in the video description for you. And the full-size SkyHunter is... I've just not got round to it, to be frankly honest, and I'm not going to get round to it today. I've got a busy day ahead of me, yeah, I'm not going to get it today either, but I will get it purchased, and we will get it here at some point in the future. And by the way, let's put this into perspective. It's not like I've got enough models here at the moment to keep me bemused. The Reflex, I don't know if you can see her back there. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll get her just to show her off. Girl. There you go. Put the stickers on it yesterday. That does look pretty damn cool. And I've seen people putting them on the opposite wings. And also, I'd like to make a point is that I've seen a lot of these reflexes and people have covered them with just clear laminate. That wasn't doing the black foam any favours. So I've actually covered it with black laminating film. And I've got the push rods on. The control horns, the push fit control horns did arrive on Saturday, so that's happy days. I can't remember who suggested about putting hot glue in the front fins of the core flute. Inspired idea, so that we don't get them gunked up with mud. That was a bloody good idea, to be honest. And this morning, you'll notice it, I don't know if you can see it there, I've got a black Runcam Swift. which I dug out of the Z84. So that's in there, and I've got a low pass. I've got some wiring to do now, some soldering. I've got a low pass filter, and I need to secure in the video transmitter in the wing. Now, in reality, this morning, let me stick that one out of the way. This morning, if I spent some time on it, it would be ready to maiden today. But in reality is that I would like to take a couple of photographs of her while she looks at her best, and then trying to do the wiring and get some decent placement shots of her. I'm not going to be able to do all in the time which I've got allotted this morning, so the maiden won't be done today. It will, if the weather's good, later this week at some point. Yeah, it does look pretty damn cool, to say the least. We're on the home straight, literally. We are 1, 2, 3 solder joints and a cable tie short of being ready. She is ridiculously close, but my Phantom FX61 over there, the video transmitter is playing up. I swapped it out for another one last night, exactly the same issue. That's got me stumped. So what I'm going to do, my priority this morning, is to change the wiring loom in there. Now, a couple of you I know have asked about the FX79. In reality, it's a bloody great big model, and I wanted one for a long period of time. But for me, the Phantom, you can carry it in one hand, and I don't know, it's a hard choice between that one and the FX79. Personally, I like the 61. It's done me really, really well. So I do need to get that FX61 cleaned up. I will get her laminated at some point in the future because she has proven to be a fantastic model in the sky. Oh, there's a question in there, Joe. Low pass filter. Yes, in short, I don't know if you've seen it on the micro SkyHunter, if you've seen any of the FPV footage of the micro SkyHunter, and you'll see that we've got lines. So we've got like a lines going across here, and then you'll end up with zigzags, which actually go. I need to get this right for you. So no, that, yeah, like that way. That they're like you'll end up with horizontal lines and diagonal lines on the screen. That's noise coming off from the speed controller coming back down the power supply. So you stick a low pass filter in there, which is basically a capacitor and a coil, and it cleans up your picture. Happy days. And you do that on the positive and the negative for both your FPV camera and your video transmitter, and that cleans up the signal, so you end up with a better quality image. Personally, I just normally fly through it, but I've got a low pass filter here. Anthony from TBRC suggested it, so that's what I'm doing. And it's going to take 20 minutes extra to do, but we'll end up with a better quality image at the end of the day. And we must not forget, we've also got the Twin Zoo, which that's really weird. There's the Twin Zoo. Just that, I'm poking the Twin Zoo in the booms. As you can tell, I'm feeling a lot better now. We got the Twin Zoo. We also have the FG36 and the 48 in progress at the moment too. Those of you which are in the Facebook group, I did put a photograph for some wiring looms which I've made for that. Time will tell whether I'm right or not to put the ESCs underneath the wings, and I will be using some 3.5mm little ESCs in there, or if I fry an ESC, I'll be able to quickly change them out. Probably not on the flight line, but it will make, because I'm putting the power lines inside the fuselage itself, so once they get glued down, I won't have access to them again. So if I put bullet connectors on there, I can change the ESCs over at a later date. So yeah, cool beans. Before I go, if you've enjoyed today's RC Coffee Chat, do me a favour, press the thumbs up button underneath the this video for me. If you're not already in the Facebook group, there is a link to the Facebook group in the video description. And also, if you're not subscribed yet, go and hit the red button underneath this video which says subscribe. We normally run an RC Coffee Chat every single day at 6 AM UK time. Now, those times vary across the world, so do check the timings on them in tomorrow's one. And if you'd like to be notified the second the next video has been published, press the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, and YouTube will notify you. And ultimately, thank you for joining me this morning. So a quick look. Turbo Tyler says he uses ESC filter VTX camera. Yeah, so what I just for clarity, what with the low pass filter. Sorry, I can see you chatting about that in the background. So for the low pass filter, it's basically a capacitor. Where is it? That's all it is. All right, let me come on, focus. Put my hand behind it. Come on, focus. Right. The lump at the bottom is a capacitor. The lump, that little lump there, is just basically a coil wire called an inductor, because that's what it is. And yeah, that will get rid of some of the lines on your FPV footage. So you'll connect that to the input lines. You connect to your battery, whether that coming off the XT60 connector or you're off your balance lead connector, and then you take that as the power input for your video transmitter and your FPV camera, and that will help cut down lines on your FPV footage. Yeah, really straightforward. Yeah, immersion RC sells for $8. Yeah, you just look up low pass filter on Banggood or on eBay. They're super cheap because remember, it's basically a coil wire and a capacitor. Both very jelly bean components and super cheap. So that one which I've got there did come with 2 JST connectors on either side. The only thing you can screw up on them is you've got output and you've got input, and positive and negative. They're dead straightforward. Super cheap, couple of quid tops, like $3, something like that. That's all it is. No, Joe, not something which I made on the fly. Just dirt cheap. Just dirt cheap, and it will clean up your FPV footage for you. Pun intended. Thanks, Joe. So on that note, I'm legging it now. For myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for joining me for today's RC coffee chat. And if you're out flying today, have fun. If you're not out flying today, somebody might be flying today. I'll stick a battery in for you and absolutely cane the nuts off one of the models, and I'm sure you'll probably see a video of that later this week. So on that note, from myself, Matt, cheerios! I've lost my mouse again. Come back, mouse. We're in business. Cheerios!